does your body feel like in zero gravity?
What inspires you to become an astronaut?
What exercise do you do? And do you sweat in space?
Would a yo-yo work in microgravity?
So it works.
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is the International Space Station. We are ready for the event.
Langley Research Center, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, how do you hear me? How do you hear me?
Langley, this is the International Space Station. We hear you loud and clear. Hello, Virginia.
Hello. Hello, this is Pamela Northam, First Lady of Virginia, here at the Virginia Air and Space Center. As a former science educator, I'm thrilled to take part in this NASA in-flight education downlink. What a great opportunity for the students of the Commonwealth to see firsthand how studying science, technology, engineering, and math can take you to infinity and beyond. Now, for our first grade questions.
What are the best and worst parts of living in a microgravity environment?
Hey, that's a good question. I have to think a little bit about that one. You know, the first obvious thing, of course, that comes to my mind is being up here, the floating, the looking out the window, and that is something that I always enjoyed, right? Then there's also a few things that are hard to get used to at the beginning, like flying in space seems fun at first, but it comes with a few tricky situations. Like you always have to keep track of items. You can't just put them down anywhere. They just float away. Or there's things, annoying things like little things when your socks get stuck on Velcro. These are the small annoying things. But taking a step back, you know, I always when I think about the fact that I live here right now in the most complex machine that humanity has ever built, that machine is a laboratory that allows us to do research that we can do nowhere else on Earth. No money, no effort anywhere on this planet will not be able to create a laboratory that allows us to do the research that we do up here. So this is such a unique place that just thinking about that is, for me, one of the best things I can imagine.
My name is Genesis. What was the first thought when you reached space?
Please say again. You were broken up here for a second.
My name is Genesis. What was the first thought when you reached space?
Oh, that's a very good question, Jennifer. So the first thought, really, when I reached space is I looked out there and I looked at the thin atmosphere. And when you see it from the outside, the sky doesn't look like infinite anymore. It's not as big and huge as we are used to seeing that on Earth. It's just like this thin little layer around this little tiny planet. And I was worried about that. If I saw that, the first thing that came to my mind, oh my God, we really need to take care of this planet, of this little fragile atmosphere. If we don't take care about it, then well, we might destroy it. We might make it impossible for us to live on that planet. We don't have another planet that we could hop over. We really only have this one little oasis in a black universe. And so we have to cherish it and really take care about it. That was my first thought when I reached space.
My name is Robert Dusty, and my question is, what type of technical training do you receive to ensure that you can fix any mechanical problems on the ISS?
Yeah, well, we hope we can fix any mechanical problem, but of course, that's never sure. The training for an astronaut takes about, say, 4 to 5 years until you're really ready for your first mission. And we learn a lot of different things. Amongst these are technical things. But as so often, it's not the things that you learn at school or at university that bring you all the way there, but you have to pick up skills in your life early. Like for me, mechanical skills was something that I always tried to develop. My dad and my grandfather, they were blacksmiths basically, so I learned how to work with metal, with tools early on when I was a kid, and I always kind of trained to do that, and I actually have a lot of fun repairing things. So I found that my actual understanding of these things comes not from my training as an astronaut, but from way, way back, from when I was a kid. So like you guys working at home with dad in the garage or doing things on your own, like going out there, being curious, finding out about things, learning languages, all these are the skills that will carry you very, very far in life. So, and you can't start early enough with picking up those things, because later on it might be much more difficult to pick them up.
Hi, my name is Kimon, and I would like to know how you get water into space.
Yeah, that's a very good question and a very important one for us, how to get water up here in space. The short answer is we have to bring it with us, right? But that's quite an effort to launch water on a rocket. It's space that we could use otherwise, like with scientific experiments. So we want to minimize the amount of water that we bring up, and that's why we recycle water. We actually have a very complex water recycling system up here on ISS, and we're developing it always further and further. We want it ideally to be a closed loop system, meaning like every drop of water that we use, we can always recycle, like Earth is doing it. And when we fly to Moon and to Mars, which are our plans for the next years and decades, we really need to have very reliable life support systems. And right here in the Columbus laboratory, we're working on life support systems. Like we have also other life support systems all over the International Space Stations. We get new ones up here that try to be more efficient, lighter, and more durable, because when you fly to Mars and you're out there for a year, then you can't just like turn back and repair something if it's broken. So we really have to have reliable equipment, and that is one purpose of the International Space Station. Right here in this laboratory, we prepare for the steps that are ahead of us. This is really the only place where we can test things reliably under real conditions before we go to Moon and to Mars.
My name is Wesley Mann, and what happens if someone gets sick on board the ISS, and what if they need medical attention?
Please say again. Sorry, I couldn't hear you there for a second.
My name is Wesley Mann, and what happens if someone gets sick on board the ISS, and what if they need medical attention?
Sorry, couldn't hear that one. Maybe try stay away from the microphone a bit further.
My name is Wesley Mann, and what happens if someone gets sick on board the ISS, and what if they need medical attention?
Sorry, I can't hear you right now.
Just check in. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. That's better.
Okay. Stand right here. Back up. There you go.
My name is Wesley Mann. What happens if someone gets sick on board the ISS, and what if they need medical attention?
maybe you have to back up from the microphone and speak a little bit softer. I think it's our speakers up here. They're they have too high volume, so I can't hear you.
Do it together. What happens if someone gets sick on board the ISS, and what if they need medical attention?
Oh, yes, I hear you. Sorry. That's also a very good question and something that is for us, of course, very important. So it really depends on what the problem is. If it's a smaller problem, like a cut or something, we can repair it. Like also, we have the luck here that we have Serena Onion Chancellor on board. She's a medical doctor, so she's, of course, even more prepared than the rest of us to help us if something happens. But if there's something bad happening, like a broken bone, or maybe an appendix that is inflamed, we might have to go home. And that's also for us here on the ISS not such a big problem because we always have our spaceship capsules. Right now we're traveling here with the Soyuz capsules. Soon it's going to be other capsules like SpaceX and Boeing to the ISS. We always have them here ready to fly us home as a rescue capsule. And that is, of course, an advantage when you're close to Earth. We can be home in a day, say, if something bad happens. But also, that's something that we need to think about when we fly further out to Moon and Mars. How do we treat medical injuries there? So we need to be able to treat all those things out there. And that's, of course, something that we need to train hard for and also need to develop the technologies.
My name is Daryl, and what do you eat on the ISS, and how do you grow your food?
Oh, yes. So food is a very important topic as well on the ISS. So as you know, we're up here for half a year at a time. Some people have been here for a year. And so you only get visits by a spaceship once every few months that can bring fresh food. So we don't get like fresh veggies and salad. And even though if you might be somebody who doesn't like veggies so much, I promise you up here you crave it. You really want your veggies, but you can't have them. Well, just dehydrated ones that we put water in, they're not as good as the fresh ones. So mostly we eat out of cans. And now you might see a little bit of red light here shining towards me from my left side. And that is actually light from an experiment that we do where we grow vegetables like salads or even other things like algae on the space station to see how we can grow them in space and if we might be able to use them later on to actually to eat up here to provide food and fresh vegetables for the crew. So this is only an experiment for now, but again, sometime later on, we really hope that we can grow our own food up here.
Hello, my name is Ebony, and my question is, does it ever feel cramped inside the space station? And if so, how do you cope?
Say again, please.
Hello, my name is Ebony, and does it ever feel cramped inside the space station? And if so, how do you cope?
Yes, I understand. Actually, the space station is much bigger than many people think. So it has the size inside of a big airplane, actually. If you've ever been flying in an airplane, that's about the size of the space station. Now, imagine not being with 200 other people there, but only with 5 other people. So we have actually a lot of space. And often I'm working here in the Columbus module from the European Space Agency. That's where I'm from. And then Serena, my colleague, she might be working in the module, the laboratory module of the Japanese Space Agency. And my other colleagues, Drew and Ricky, they might be in the U.S. laboratory, the Destiny Lab. So we work in different modules, and then we're actually quite happy when once in a while we cross our paths or meet us for lunch and ask each other how the day is going. We have a lot of fun up here by doing that, but actually it doesn't feel cramped at all.
Hi, my name is Journey. What do you miss doing here on Earth?
Please say again.
Hi, my name is Journey. What do you miss doing here on Earth?
Oh, yes. So I miss Earth a lot, especially once I realized that some things that we take for granted every day, they only exist on this little planet down there. For example, walking through a forest and hearing the leaves whisper, feeling the wind in my face, or going for a run in the rain, which I love, or watching a thunderstorm and hearing the thunder. It's one of the things I love most. And all those things that I thought were, well, normal and no, not a big deal. All these things, I realize up here in space that these things, they only exist on this little planet down there. Nowhere else in the universe they exist. Well, at least we don't know. There's a lot of things out there, but we don't know them yet. So we have to look what's out there, but we're going to miss, wherever we go, we're going to miss where we're from, our little home planet, and how important it is to us.
Hi, my name is Jermaine. Do you play pranks on each other?
Please say again.
Hi, my name is Jermaine. Do you play pranks on each other?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you again. Maybe try going a little bit further away from the microphone.
Hi, my name is Jermaine. Do you play jokes on each other?
Oh, yes, I now understand. Sorry, we have to work on our audio system, it appears. So yes, we have a lot of fun up here. You know, it's important, that's what we found, is when we do a job that is very often very serious, and that's what the astronaut job is, it's also important in between to relax. And the good way to do that is through humor. So we have a lot of things in common. We make jokes with each other. We don't laugh at each other. We laugh with each other about things. And it's actually quite a lot of fun to be here. Without that, it would actually be quite boring.
Hi, my name is Yamir. Other than necessities, what is the one must-have item you brought to space?
When we fly to space, actually everything is already prepared. So we have a lot of great folks at NASA and at ESA and at Roscosmos who take care of all our needs. They send our foods, they send our clothes. So really, you know, on the launch day, you actually get rid of everything you have. I got rid of my clothes, and my shoes were really old, so I actually just threw them in the bin because they had already some holes, so I don't need them anymore. I climbed in my spacesuit and I flew to space with nothing. I had nothing. Well, the only thing that I carried on my body was a watch, because you need one in the spaceship to know what the time is. And anything else was already up here. My family sent me a few things, like a few memory items, a few photos, but, well, we could live here without those. That's not important. So really what we need is ourselves. What I found up here, most important though, to have as an item, is a camera, actually. And that is my favorite thing here on the space station, to open the window if I have a little bit of time. We have about half an hour, 1 hour for our own private time in the evenings. And once in a while, I go to the window and I take photos of the Earth and I send it down. You can actually see them on my Twitter and social media streams. I just love taking photos, and that way I take you guys with me up here. I know that's a big privilege to be in space, and I think everybody should see Earth from space, and I hope one day that's possible. And until then, I will make sure that I share my impressions and my feelings that I have when I look with my own eyes from space to Earth. And that is the thing that makes the difference, in my opinion, that it's not a satellite taking a photo, but actually a human seeing Earth, taking a photo of it, and then sharing it with the feelings that we have while we look down. And I think that's a very important thing for my job, and for that, I think the cameras is my favorite thing, my favorite item here on the space station.
Thank you, Station, for your incredible work and for taking time for the scientists and engineers of tomorrow. This is Virginia Air and Space Center signing off.
Thank you, Langley. Thanks, Virginia. Thanks for the great questions. It was great to talk to you. This made my day. It's always great to get those questions from kids who might someday be colleagues of mine, be engineers, scientists, boys, girls, both. It's important that you live your dreams. Thanks for doing that. And then one day you might be floating right here on the International Space Station. All the best.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all the participants from Langley Research Center. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.